Hi. Yeah, this is Mgtow Ruben or Red Pill Ruben, whatever you want to call me. All right, I wanted to address determinism because I ran across it in a meme on Instagram. Okay, appropriate causes and conditions for appropriate effect is basic axiom of what is determinism. The causes and conditions that lead to a desired effect. All right, how do you perforce as a player stage the appropriate causes and conditions in order to get the effect? All right, first of all, you have to be alpha enough to do it. All right. Now, in the Eightfold Path of Buddhist tradition, they have right speech, right action, right effort, right concentration, right heedfulness, right thought, and right mindfulness in order to get the right cause condition to get the desired effect. Right. It's the right concentration in a nutshell. Basically, what do you want out of the outcome? What kind of game are you playing in order to get the outcome? What outcome is it? What do you want out of the outcome? All right, do you want to be happy, joyous, and free in general? Do you want to own a person's soul? Do you want to be unified? Not necessarily in the bullshit soulmate motif, but do you want to have your own liberation of joy? Do you want to have your own happiness? And do you want to have your own personal freedom? All right. If that's the case, then there's limits and boundaries associated with what is stability. Because you can only be happy, joyous, and free, which is ebullient in your mind frame, if you have stability in your mind frame. If you're cool with yourself from the get go before you start manipulating, quote unquote, to get game in order to get these concentrated efforts to get the causes and conditions done to get the desired effects that you want, to get whatever need that you need satisfied, met, right? So basically, you need to know your limitations, what you're cool with, and what you're not cool with. That's where the red pill comes in, right? Philosophical premises and tenets of red pill. The red pill awareness. It's not necessarily for the alphas; it's for everybody, right? And I consider myself fairly average, one way or another. The old, uh, the old school way of train of thought of what is manhood is basically what the alpha red pill is all about. All right, who has a right to breed and who has a right. Well, everybody has a right to happy, joyous, and freedom, right? But how do you go about it? What is the main tenet of your existence? Why? What do you want out of life? Are you below? Let's say your SMV value is between 4 and 7, then you have a shot at whatever it is you want out of life. Um, Above 7, of course, you have abundance. Below 4, you have lack of abundance, right? That's below 4 is if you're 5'3" and look like Webster or something like that. There's some kind of congenital defect or deficiency about you that makes you look like a TFLer. That's very depressing. Nobody wants to get into that. One way or another, I'm talking about limits, boundaries, which are a downer, but they're needed in order to maintain stability, in order for you to pursue this ebullient pathway of mindfulness and concentration to set the appropriate causes, conditions to get the desired effects that you want out of life. All right, so um, right now I'm kind of in the middle of everything financial wise. I just got a job. I have good investments from when I was in graduate school, but I never really was a professional anything. So being low class, I'm kind of stuck in the low class, which is the appropriate geography. Otherwise, I go nuts in some other kind of geography trying to be a poser. So now that I got that fundamental out of the way, how do I work this geography? Who am I going to approach in order within this geography? Well, the hot chicks, of course, but they can't necessarily be too bad bitch in order for me to go up to them. All right, that brings me to the first lesson I picked up on. This is Hooters type restaurant, Twin Peaks type restaurant for Mexicans. And I was sweet on this one particular girl for about 6 months, but her living situation was set so that she couldn't really go out with anyone. She was living with the owner of the restaurant, the lady owner, and she just moved here from South America. She didn't really know anything about this country. She didn't have a car. One way or another, she couldn't go out for about 6 months until she got situated and got her own place. She got her own place after the 6 months, and she was down to hook up. It looks like she was DTF with me, right? Well, I didn't know anything about red pill, didn't know nothing about blue pill, didn't know nothing about anything. I just was traditional in my mindset, and I was from the hood, so I just thought I'd act as would be a person in the hood, given the geography and my personal upbringing and my belief structure, right? Turns out I ended up getting kicked out of the restaurant. Nothing really, no violence or any illegal activity. I just got kicked out of the restaurant. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that, right? So anyway, I get kicked out of the restaurant. She gets totally upset, and while I'm gone for about a couple of months, she hooks up with some other random dude or some dude that was, I don't know, some dude. They have a fling, right? I go back because I'm allowed back at the restaurant, and turns out that dude must have slayed that ass because she had absolutely no attraction for me after the fact. I mean, it was just totally condemned. I mean, she lost all attraction for me, and I was out of my investment. I was invested in it tip wise, emotionally invested, and I was intellectually invested. All right, that comes later. That after all that BS happened, that was kind of bad. That's when I got into the red pill awareness, and I wanted to understand causes, conditions, and effects. Right. Turns out all the causes and conditions were against me because a lot of the precepts in game don't apply to that situation where you're actually paying girls for attention. That goes contra to a lot of ideas that are red pill. But anyway, let's say you choose to go there. Somebody's got to bang these bitches anyway, right? They don't just go home and go to bed. So, given that idea, I tried to work this restaurant, right? Did a fairly good job. I think I was one of the causes and conditions that let her have this thing in the first place. But that aside, that was on me with my beta bitch mentality, right? I wasn't alpha enough to be able to understand that it was her job, and her flirtatiousness was part of her job, and it just got to me to the point where I just had to just yell at some dude. Anyway, that nothing happened, but that's what happened. All right. Anyway, so like, I get banned from the restaurant, and uh, that happens. The fling happens with some other random dude. I don't know who he is. And I go back. She's totally slayed and lost all interest and all attractions dead. And I invested about, well, I'd say $800 over the period of 8 months to a year in tips and gifts and flowers and stuff like that because I was totally beta and I was totally blue pill. Right. Well, I ain't saying that necessarily is a bad way to go about it if you have spare change and you can go to the Valero and buy a flower. You can do all these good things that are sweet on them, but don't overdo it. Just give them good set of flowers, good solid set of flowers one time. Tip them every now and then, maybe $3 or $4. Don't go there every day. Be nice and friendly, cordial, of course. Pick up on certain choosing signals, even though it's very hard to be understanding what a choosing signal is at Hooters because they choose basically everybody there, as far as I can tell. But choosing signal would be like getting her phone number and asking her to hook up for a date. Now, if she doesn't have a car, you're gonna have to get her address, which is almost impossible. Unless you offer to be a chauffeur or take her to the HEB or be her driver, and she'll save bucks in that aspect. But that just messes with the fundamental baseline of who she is. That's my. I drew the line there. But this dude that was random, it was actually doing that. He was taking her to the HEB, taking her to her job way early in the morning, like at 5:30 in the morning, to get up, drag his ass, and take her over there just for this uh whatever. You know what I'm saying? All right. Anyway, uh, I don't know. There's some scabs in the world, dude. Anyway, one way or another, it didn't work out. But I was intellectually invested after the fact when I got into the red pill. Well, turns out it's impossible to salvage that relationship. It is impossible to salvage anything associated with that BS. There's resentment on my part, and there was no attraction on her part. So it's just totally condemned. That's why they say walk away when that stuff happens, infidelity of any kind. Doesn't necessarily have to be there. From a lofty pansy viewpoint, there can be love without sex because she touched your soul. That's what happened to me as a blue pill beta. And because she basically stabbed me in the back after that, I had so much resentment and that it's impossible for me to try to salvage anything out of that situation, right? So, uh, I mean, it may happen. It would be possible if I were to repeat the same thing I did, investing more resources and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure it could happen again. Maybe it's my favor. I don't lose it again. But I'm not going to play that game no more. I'm not going to lead out of my wallet as much as I was prior to throwing money at problems and issues because I was overcompensating for lack of gain, right? Anyway, uh, that's basically it. That's all I got for today. Goodbye.